Hey Rose, want to grab a drink?
Your happiest hour of the week starts now.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy because the drinks are on us. Welcome back to Drinks on Us. I'm Riley.
And I'm Rose. We are so happy you joined us for happy hour today. We have such an exciting episode in store for you guys. I feel like it's been a minute since we've had a guest, and this is a guest Riley and I have been really, really excited about. We've been trying to be more selective with our guests. Not that we weren't before, but we really are very excited and feel like she's going to just really align with the Do Crew. So we have Ilana on. I am not even going to try to say her last name because if you know me and you've been around on Drinks on Us, pronouncing anything is just so out of my league, but she is amazing.
And we love you for that.
Thanks. Thank you. You know, at least I'm like owning up to where I am not the best. But she is going to give us so much tips and knowledge and value. I really think this is going to be an awesome episode for all of us. I know Riley and I are excited to learn. So we're going to keep our sip and spill a little bit shorter because we're really excited to bring her on. I think Riley and I are both like, this has been a long awaited guest that we've been, it's been in the works for a while. So before we get into sip and spill a little bit and bring our guest on, Ry, what do you have in your cup tonight?
Tonight, I'm drinking kombucha in my coupe glass. I'm feeling extra fancy. But what about you?
I am drinking another half day, which was the probiotic iced tea that I mentioned a couple episodes back. And this one is just plain peach. It's amazing. And I just feel like it's a perfect, I don't know, iced tea gives me summer vibes. So I am leaning into this. It's cute and orange. I'm enjoying it.
I love that the first time you had that, I was like, oh, I don't know if you're going to like that. And now you're like obsessed.
Here I am. I mean, I'm trying to like change and not be like the most boring girl and have Poppy every week. I got to be honest with the Do Crew. I've kind of been like falling short on like having a creative, cool drink. I think I can step it up. Should I step it up?
Yeah, we can both step it up. We've just been busy.
We have.
It's okay. Like everyone gets busy. But speaking of Poppy, I want to tell our 7-Eleven story because people have been asking.
Right. So many people want to know. I mean, we really did. We were like, we're not going to tell you, but it was like the near-death experience. And it was the craziest thing. And I lived out my biggest fear. And then we just didn't say what it was.
And now it's going to feel like the most minor thing. People are going to be like, were you seriously scared of that?
I know.
But I feel like you should tell the story. Or do you want me to?
Like, I can start us off. It's just really hard to like encompass. Okay, so let's take it back to the weekend in Pittsburgh. We wanted to go to 7-Eleven, of course, to find a Poppy. We wanted a Poppy to drink while we got ready for dinner or Kenny or whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like let's go to 7-Eleven. We walk in and we had like kind of a aggressive walk there, but we were like, no worries.
It was long and we like got lost and we were walking in downtown Pittsburgh. And so it was like the light at the end of the tunnel when we finally saw the 7-Eleven at the end of the street. We're like, oh, we made it. Thank goodness.
Yes. And we walk in and this extremely massive human man, Jamaican man, nothing wrong with that. We're just saying like, we're trying to put it into perspective. Like he is
Paint the picture.
Intimidating man, large, very loud, deep voice, and he's yelling. And if you've ever heard a man, like a Jamaican man, like they have like a powerful accent, I don't know, intense. And he's like, give me my money, give me my money. And am I doing it good or bad?
Yeah, no, so he was screaming at the top of his lungs. Like I think anyone would be scared.
Screaming. And at first, Riley and I, we couldn't decipher what he was saying. We just knew he was yelling aggressively at the cashier. The people behind the cashier were probably of like a Middle Eastern ethnicity. They're talking back. But of course, there's like not a language barrier between the two of them, but it's also both people are raising their voices. It's getting chaotic. We don't even know what the principle of what they're yelling about is. I didn't even see one item in the fridge to look for the Poppy because I'm freaking out. I'm like, Riley, we have to leave. We have to leave. And Riley's like, no, like you were at first, you were like thinking we could power through, but it started to escalate.
We could power through.
But it was escalating.
It was getting really bad. And I think there was a language barrier. And I think that was making the main guy more upset that they weren't understanding. And oh my God, it was so bad.
So we exit, but we're like, we're not just going to leave. Like we didn't even get to look to see if they had the dang Poppy. Like we made the trek here. We're going to wait. So we like cross the street And this is where the ghost of the North Pole came.
Oh, wait, you forgot something. Remember the man who lost control of his car when we walked out?
Oh, yeah. So this, you know how there's parking spots at 7-Eleven that aren't for the gas tank? Like they're right up by the store. Well, this like really, really cute college kid, because we're like in a college town. He's like also a little, you could tell he was a little panicked. Like, I got to get out, like SOS. And he puts his car, old clanky car, in reverse, and it just spins out. Like you could tell he went to stop reversing and go into drive to leave. And the car flew back after he went out of reverse, and you just see him like throw his head on his steering wheel, and he's, you guys, inches from hitting the gas pump. Inches, but he is perpendicular to the gas tank. He is like, it's a full cross, and
he literally lost full control of his car and didn't even try to put it into drive again. He just parked it and panicked.
He parked it and was so panicked. He started like looking in his empty trunk for nothing. Like he was trying to like kill time and like act like he was doing something. So I think he was afraid the Jamaican man was going to like comment on him or something. And you guys, I'm not even kidding. This man decided to get gas perpendicular. Like somehow the pump made it to his car. And
how did it reach?
No clue how it reached. I have no clue what occurred. Like, did he have to get his car towed? I don't know. Riley and I got out of the scene as fast as possible, but you tell them about the ghost of the North Pole.
Okay, so all of this, like, I feel like a million things happened at once while we left the store. So we're standing across the street and we're like, what in the world's going on? We weren't even like really talking. We were just like looking. And this boy,
Angel.
He wasn't a man. He was a boy. He was sitting on a motorcycle, like truly did appear out of nowhere. Like I didn't even see him.
No, he wasn't there.
All of a sudden he's next to us in the parking lot and he's like, yeah, they didn't give him the right amount of change. And we're like, oh, and he goes, yep, Lisa will be here soon. And we were like, oh my gosh, really? Like, I can't believe that. Did we even say anything else to him?
No. And then like he was gone and we like waved and he just like poofed.
And then he was gone and we waved bye to him. And then the police came. He was right.
It was crazy. It was like he was there to tell us what was going on. He let us know, but
did calm us down.
No, he did, because we had no clue what was happening. But at this point, okay, so the police arrive. At first, it's just one police officer. And I think by like this point, like when Riley and I are like, we feel safe now that the police are here. Like, let's go back in. We walk in. I mean, the whole security footage is on the big TVs they have. Like, they're running back the tape. Things are intense. No Poppy, all of this to say, no Poppy. So we do all of this essentially for nothing. We just like got a snack because we felt like if we committed this long, we had to at least get something. And so we're trying to like check out. Now 3 police officers are there because I think the original police called in backup. The guys behind the counter seem to not give a flying F. Don't you think, right?
No, they were like so calm and so aloof. And
love that word. Go off.
But don't you think that was like a good, like they were just like, we don't know what's going on. And then, so Rose and I get our snack and the man and the police are blocking the entrance to the store. And we're literally standing there in the huddle. The Jamaican man is...
Yeah, we were like, in the huddle. It was a circle.
Why are we standing in the circle with them? Just trying to leave the store, but we couldn't because the entrance was blocked. The Jamaican man is now screaming at the police officers who were trying to help him. They're like, dude, we're trying to help you. Why are you mad at us? It was just terrible. And the Jamaican man's girlfriend was there and she was like really embarrassed and trying to calm him down. So honestly, I don't even know what happened. Like, we don't know how, we didn't stay to see the ending.
No, we should have like at that point, we should have stayed to see what occurred because the whole rest of the weekend, Riley and I are like, who was wrong? Was it the Jamaican? Was it the gas workers?
Yeah,
like,
and then we're like,
who messed up? And we couldn't figure it out. We don't know. We didn't stay. We don't know if the ghost of the North Pole came back. We don't know if the Asian man retrieved his broken car. You guys, it was like the most cultural experience. I've never seen more different walks of life within 10 minutes all have a tragic experience. It was the craziest thing. Also, mind you, we're full glam from our photo shoot.
Oh yeah, we were full glam.
It was like an entirely incredible experience. And Riley and I, it took us a while to like understand. And this was right before we filmed last week's episode, which is why we got the espresso martinis, because we're like, we got to pump it up. Like that took everything out of us.
I feel like it was also really fresh in our minds and we were like still a little shaken up. So that's why we made it a huge deal. But I feel like 7 million things happened at one time. And I really do wonder if the college student's car like ever made it out of that parking lot or like how, I wish we took a picture of the car and like how it was angled and how the gas pump like magically reached his car, because I have no idea how that happened.
And at first Riley didn't get to see his car spin out, and because I'm like crying laughing, and oh my gosh, you guys, this poor man, like he just wanted to find something to do to get him out of the chaos in 7-Eleven.
His car brakes stopped working. Okay, so that's that on that.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the Poppy lawsuit?
Okay. So I haven't really like dug deep into it. I'm totally taking any of this sue. People are like sending us the TikTok and I've obviously seen it. Here's my thing. This is how I feel. I don't know if this is how Riley feels. I'm not drinking Poppy for the probiotic benefits. Like I take a pre and probiotic. I'm taking this as like a healthier alternative to having a fun drink or like a fun soda. And at the end of the day, it is much cleaner, less ingredients. Like I know what the ingredients are. It's not these crazy hidden things that are in Coke or whatnot. So it's like I never really had this expectation of it being like this incredible thing for me. I just thought it was like a healthier alternative to a soda.
I could not agree more. Cade keeps trying to rile me up. He's like, oh, like your brand Poppy, did you see that lawsuit? And I'm like, if you are trying to get better gut health, you're not going to be turning to Poppy. You're going to be turning to probiotics, prebiotics. And this person who is suing Poppy, I feel like just has too much time on their hands. Like, why? I truly cannot. I can't.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, maybe they need to like fix up some of their packaging and like labels of what they're portraying that it does for you. So maybe that's like what's going to happen in the end. Like, fine. People are still going to drink it.
Yeah, it's still going to be a healthy alternative to soda. And I feel like it's kind of stupid.
Yeah, I agree. So I wonder like what's happening behind the scenes, like how intense is it really, or is it just getting like publicity and it's like kind of like, I feel like those things happen so much behind the scenes that don't make it to social media, but gosh, nothing can not make it to TikTok these days. Yeah,
that is true. Like, I wonder if this is actually like going to turn out to be nothing or if it's going to continue to foster and like turn into something. But I feel like Poppy will win, right?
If Poppy has 2 fans, it's me and you.
We should have worn our Poppy sweatsuits today to support, even though
2 weeks in a row. But anyways, I'm not worried about it. I did want to say too, we wanted to do like a proper Kenny recap and like just talk about like some funny little things that happen, but we feel like we want to dive deep into it. And we know this episode is going to be like jam packed. So we're going to save it for next week because we want to make sure we give like our proper little, you guys know we can get carried away and we don't have time to get carried away today.
And there were so many things that happened at Kenny that I feel like we need to talk about.
Oh my gosh. Absolutely. So we'll save it. But do you want to kick us off for what's in our cart?
Yes, I do. I have something that I'm really excited to talk about. It's this random thing. So remember that Target trip that I talked about the other week? And I was like, I had so much fun in Target. I got so many like random things. I got this bodysuit that is literally a Skims bodysuit dupe. And I was wearing it this weekend for the first time. I'm like, wow, I love this. I have to talk about it on Drinks on Us. So I'll obviously link it for you guys. It comes in a lot of colors, but it's just like a simple, basic bodysuit, but I feel like I'm going to wear it so much.
Okay. I'm definitely going to get it. Do you follow any influencers that were invited to that Charleston Target trip?
No, what? That sounds fun.
It was so cute. And everything they wore for the weekend was Target. And I was like, oh my gosh, to pop off Target. They had so many adorable things that if you would have told me it was like Anthro or Free People, I would have been fooled.
Yeah, no, I was actually at Target the other day getting my dad a Father's Day card. Reminder, Father's Day is coming up.
Good one.
And they had like all of these cargo pants that were really cute. And so, yeah, I think we need to be shopping at Target more for clothes.
Okay. Yes.
Also this weekend, I was doing a Sunday clean with my mop and my mop slippers. And it made me think that I need to link them on Drinks on Us. Have I ever talked about them on the pod?
No. The only reason I can confidently say no is I would remember editing the what's in our cart of those slippers. Like I would remember that image, but no, but they are the funniest thing. I mean, they're totally practical. They just crack me up.
No, they're so practical, and I'm going to link them because I wear them every time I slipper or mop, and it's amazing. It's literally slippers that have mops on the bottom, and my cedar mop from Target. I don't know if you have it too, but I love it. So I'll
link the mop too while you're at it.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. So you're a hand mop kind of girly.
Yeah, I'm it's a hard knock life. That's me.
You're giving Homestead.
Oh my gosh, yes. Totally. And I love that.
Yeah.
I do have a sourdough update. My friend Natalie is going to teach me how. She said she gave me her Amazon storefront and told me all the products that I need to buy. And then she told me that I can call her and she can walk me through it.
Oh, incredible. So are you doing this the from start starter or just
Well, that's the problem. She said that I should probably find someone who already has a starter that would be willing to give some to me. So I need to figure that out.
Just buy the starter from Willa and not the extra tools.
Well, the tools that I need are like certain bowls.
No, I'm saying get those on Amazon, but buy just the starter off Ballerina Farms.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Okay. So what's in my cart is comical that I'm literally saying this for the third time. I've lost my Celine dupe sunglasses. Like, I don't know, but like, that's why I buy $15 sunglasses. All right. So I'm going to link them again because they're amazing and I'm going to get them again. However, Ryan's mom was telling me that if I'm living in Florida, I need to have legit sunglasses because I'll have I can create damage in my eyes with how strong the sun is. She freaks me out. She was saying you can get
Kim,
sunspot.
She freaked you out.
Yeah, because I'm like, oh my gosh, well, I don't want that. I guess it can show up years from now. So I need to kind of invest in a pair of Ray-Bans or something.
You should. Ray-Bans are cute.
Yeah. I mean, no, I know they're cute, but is it in the budge?
You can make it in the budge.
So if anyone has a good quality pair, I think it has to be polarized or
yes.
Yeah. If there's something else better out there than Ray-Bans, I just feel like that's the tried and true. But of course, I'm still going to get the fashionable ones and maybe just put an air tag on my Ray-Bans or something.
I don't understand how you lost them for a third time. I remember seeing them and then they were gone.
Someone scooped them during our photo shoot. Them. Yeah, 100. I hope they think they're Celine.
Yeah.
Hope
Jokes
that was worth. Yeah. And then the other thing is I just got a restock. One of my tried and true, you know how you have a handful of products that you're 100% subscribed to, my, of course, Luxe Unfiltered Santel body cream lotion is Chef's Kiss. I actually don't even order it off of Luxe Unfiltered. I order it off Amazon so I can be subscribed to it. And it's timed up perfectly that it comes in right when the other one is right at the end. And this cream, you guys, this cream is incredible. I love it so much. It's so hydrating, especially if you have drier skin in the winter or in the summer. And I must say that it has jojoba oil in it.
Oh, jojoba.
Jojoba. Jojoba. So it's kind of giving me my jojoba fix. So if you guys are in the market for a quality lotion, it smells amazing. It's clean. It's vegan, cruelty free, the whole nine. And it's just Luxe Unfiltered really lives up to its name. It's Luxe. Okay. And then the last thing is I am switching Rin's food bowls to be 100% stainless steel.
Okay.
Does Truly use stainless steel?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I wasn't because I was using cute ones. And apparently it can hold a crap ton of more germs and it's not as clean and as pure for dogs, especially if it's sitting out. And I mean, I replace Rin's I wash the bowls and I replace the water all the time, but just made me feel really bad that I don't have a quality bowl for him as far as germs and stuff. So I just placed the 100% stainless steel order. It actually should be here tonight. So if you are not having your dogs eat and drink out of stainless steel, you should, because apparently it can be really bad, dirt and germ wise.
Wow, I didn't even know that. I just had stainless steel just because that's what I had, but that is really good to know.
Yeah, maybe I'll link the, of course, this sounds so uneducated, but link the TikTok that told me about it.
You should. I'm interested to see.
Yeah. And I just kind of felt bad, and it makes a lot of sense. Like, have you ever like picked up your dog's bowl and you maybe see like a little rim or just don't feel like the water's that clean? I'm like, oh my gosh, it's actually so rude of me. You know?
Because our dogs only deserve the best.
Of course. I mean, if I'm going to make his food from start, I might as well make it to a clean bowl.
Yeah. You're homesteading the dog food.
Yes. Yeah. We all have our things that make us homestead.
Yes.
But that's my cart.
Okay. Well, should we go get our guest?
Yes. I'm so excited.
Okay, let's do it. Today, we are sitting down with Ilana Muhlstein, who is a nutritionist, a dietitian, a best-selling author, and a mama of 3. Hi, Ilana. It's so great to have you.
Thank you so much for having me on. This is really exciting.
We are so excited. I know our listeners are going to get so much value from you. And so we curated some questions that we thought would kind of hit all the different amazing things that make you, you. But before we get into the questions, Riley's going to read off the questions, but it's tradition to ask what is in your cup tonight.
Oh, great. I'm so happy to answer this. It's Vitapods, which are the best thing ever. This is like the label. I have the bag right here. They're never more than like 6 feet away from me at any given point. So it's electrolytes, and it's only 5 calories, and it's no added sugar, and it's natural. There's no artificial flavors, no artificial colors. And I'm a huge fan of these. This is something that like runs through my blood because I'm such a big water drinker. I encourage everyone to drink so much water, but I need a little bit of flavor to hit my water goal. So I actually, after like so many years of wanting to make my own, I actually work with this company to make my own flavors. So this is strawberry mango, and this is apple pear. The apple pear tastes just like delicious sugary apple juice from your childhood, but for only 5 calories. So I'm drinking that today. I went to a party last night, so I'm keeping it a mocktail for the moment. But yeah, that's what I'm having. What about you guys?
I have a probiotic.
I love that. I love that.
Type of like iced tea soda. And also I absolutely need to try that. I forget the name of what you said, but I'm sure it's on your Instagram because that sounds right up a Vitapod. That sounds right up Riley and I's alley.
Tea, then you'll really like this.
Okay.
They're like, yeah. Same kind of flavor profile. I really love those. I just tried those at Whole Foods.
Oh, yeah. I know. I just saw them there. Riley, this is what I had a couple weeks ago, if you remember.
Yes, the tea. Mm-hmm. Well, I am going to hop on the Vitapods train too because it sounds absolutely delish. But tonight I'm drinking kombucha in a wine glass, of course, because we love putting things in fancy glasses here.
Yeah.
So I love that your Vitapods is in a wine glass. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. This is called the 5-8-16. So it has a marking at the 5-ounce line, 8-ounce line, and a 16-ounce line. So you know how much you're having. So if you're having wine, you stick to the 5-ounce. But if you want to like really focus on your hydration, you could go up to the 16, which is what I'm aiming for now.
Amazing.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Super interested into hydration and drinking lots throughout the day. That's kind of like the name of my game.
Love it. Well, we have so much to discuss today, so let's just get right into it. We have, like Rose said, some curated questions for you. So first question, how did you get started in your health and wellness lifestyle, and what helps you maintain it?
Great question. I love the second part, like what helps you maintain it. I have to make sure I hit that. So when I was younger, I was a big foodie. My whole family was. We were like very food focused, and we ate for all the reasons. Sorry, it's my alarm. We ate for all the reasons. When times were happy, when times were sad, like everything was about food. Most of my family had a weight struggle or issue. And I always did, as early as I can remember, I was the chubby kid in my class. And then at 4 years old, my parents got divorced. And at that point, I was like split between 2 households. It was a lot of chaotic upbringing and a lot of instability. And at that point, food was just my number one source of comfort and stability. And over time, like the consequence of that is I really just kept gaining uncontrollable amounts of weight to the point that at 8 years old, my doctor told my parents I had to go to weight loss camp, that I was so off the charts that like I had to get shipped away for 9 weeks at 8 years old, which is like
oh my gosh,
unheard of. Now as a mother of a 9-year-old, like it kind of blows my mind. But my parents just weren't the role models they needed to be. They didn't know how to get a grasp on this. And it really was a matter of life and death. Like my blood sugar levels, my cholesterol levels, everything was off the charts. And so I went away. I lost 35 pounds that summer. I came right back and I gained it all back and more. So, again, like my parents and my doctor didn't know what to do. So they just sent me back to camp. And that became this like yo-yo dieting cycle that I was experiencing from the age of like 8 to 14 until at one point I was well over 200 pounds. I was only 13, 14 years old. I went back to camp. But at this point I was going into high school and I had this light bulb moment where I was like, enough's enough. I can't keep lying to my friends and telling them I'm in sports camp all summer. Like I can't, I have to get to a point where I own this, right? Like I only have this one body. I might as well make it rock. No one's going to do this for me. There's no magic, like wake up and have this healthy relationship with food and this healthy metabolism. I have to put in the work and figure it out. And so that summer I went ahead, I lost 35 pounds, but with the mission that when I came back, I was going to keep it off. And that's really what sparked my like independent weight loss journey, where I started feeling a sense of empowerment and realizing I was going to do it on my own. And I ended up losing over like about 50 pounds over high school, decided I wanted to make this a career. I started really imparting some like really clever and unique creative ideas in order to help me continue losing weight as someone who likes to stay social and doesn't like to deprive myself. And it was really effective. So I decided I want to become a registered dietitian, get my master's degree in nutrition, continue to learn more and help others along the journey as well. And I went on to lead weight loss seminars at UCLA, turned it into this incredible weight loss program that now hundreds of thousands of people are doing across the world, which is really fun and exciting. And then wrote a couple of books and my cookbook and a weight loss book, and have so many like programs and tools and resources now to help people achieve a healthier lifestyle, a healthier relationship with food, and weight loss in a way that feels celebrated and refreshing and not, dreadful and uncomfortable. But it's still very sensible and effective and sustainable. So now the things that help me maintain this, one is the water, like water first, veggies most is my slogan. So I drink loads and loads of water throughout the day. I'm always counting my ounces, which is why I love these 5, 8, 16 glasses and the electrolytes, and veggies most. Like I really, really, really lean into vegetables. It's something you'll obviously see me eat all over social media and in my cookbook and everything. But it was really a game-changing moment for me when I realized that I could eat smarter, not less, because I like to eat a lot of food. And so when dietitians, when I was younger, would tell me I have to eat like only a deck of cards worth of protein and stuff like that, and I was always left feeling hungry and deprived, it just backfired time and time again. So when I realized that I could eat smarter and that I could eat more to weigh less by filling up on loads of delicious veggies, it really like kind of changed my whole life, not just my weight, but my overall health and my outlook on it as well.
Wow. That is such an amazing backstory. Like I'm sure with the audience that you've built, it's just so much more relatable because you went through such a unique story, especially growing up. I did not know that led you to your journey. This is such a random segue question, but
yeah, I love it.
Like, what was the camps like? Like, how did you lose that weight so fast? I'm sure like you learned what you didn't want to take away from that and what you're teaching people today.
Right. Totally. So the camp was very restrictive, right? So like you couldn't bring obviously any food or drinks to camp, like nothing. And everything, you had to wait online for all your meals. We would wait online sometimes like 30, 45 minutes, like on these huge long lines for meals, because there was a dietitian checking at the window of the food. Everything was measured and like particularly portion controlled, and you weren't allowed seconds or anything more. The only thing you were allowed seconds of were veggies, which was one of the reasons why I realized I should lean into more of them during the school year. But everything was very calorie controlled. And then you would exercise for about 14 hours a day. There are so many funny stories at camps. Like from camp. People would send packages. People would ask their friends to sneak them candy in packages. But anytime you got anything, it had to get looked at. So if you got a package from camp, it didn't come to your bunk. You would get a slip and then you would wait online to get the package, and they would open them up like publicly in front of you, in front of all the other kids at camp waiting for packages. And they would find M&M stuffed in like the eyeballs of teddy bears. Like it was in shampoo bottles. I mean, it was so, people would do such desperate things in camp to hide candies. I mean, there was one point where people were sucking on Advils because they were sugar coated. And I was like, I got to get out of here. Like I cannot stay here forever. This is not okay. So yeah, like really unrealistic and unsustainable for the school year. They like, you know, I give them some credit. Like they would try, we would do like maybe 1 or 2 cooking classes a summer where they would teach us how to, you know, be able to get somewhat involved in the kitchen at home, but it was hard. You know, it was also in kind of like their best business practice to get you coming back, which always felt kind of like backwards. But yeah, it was definitely unsustainable. I mean, you can't exercise that much. It was really from top to bottom. Like at 9 years old, I was doing Taekwondo, soccer, aerobics, weights, like instructional swim. You know, this was not like go in the pool and splash around with your friends. This was like laps. This was, you know, laps and levels and timing you. It was nonstop athletic. And then you had classes with a dietitian 3 times a week. We had therapy sessions because of, you know, obviously there's an emotional component to weight loss. So it was very, very involved, but also pretty unsustainable, you know, because they were also on a budget and they're also catering to picky young kids. So it wasn't like this was very healthy food per se. It was more just like at home, you're eating 3 slices of pizza. At camp, you're eating half a square of pizza that's like cut in particular shape and size. So when I would go home, I was still used to eating pizza. Now I had free range to eat as much as I want. And I went back to those really large portions.
That is a crazy experience. And I love that at such a young age, you had the mindset of like, okay, let me take what I've learned and apply it in a different way to be able to maintain a healthy lifestyle. And like, that's just amazing that you didn't let that kind of like toxic environment just continue the cycle, like you said. But I would totally be the girl to be like, Mom, send me a Butterfinger. Like, let's get it here. I don't care how.
Yeah. My mindset was very like, I think after a little bit, I realized that I didn't have control during the school year and I would gain so much weight that it was just shocking that I would basically put back all the weight by about January and then focus January to June gaining more. And so I was really focused on trying to take as much advantage during the camp as possible. Like I got to the point where I liked weight loss. And so that was like the best thing that the camp provided for me is it gave me a very positive association with weight loss because I'd come back every summer. I had made friends. I was able to share clothes with my friends, unlike during the school year. Boys actually liked me at weight loss camp as opposed to during the school year, you know? So my mom would get me new clothes. I would get all these compliments. So at a very young age, I had this positive relationship with weight loss and with the camp. And so when people would try to like sneak me in food, like on visiting days and stuff, I'd be like, no. Like I knew that there was a time and place for that. And I really tried to like maximize what I could do in the camp experience.
Wow. So what is your advice to someone who is struggling in their weight loss journey?
Yeah. I mean, one is you can do it. You know, like I think a lot of people have tried so many unsustainable, nonsensible diets, right? Like they tried to cut out all veggies and say that they're just doing carnivore diet, or they tried to cut out all carbs and fruits and by doing keto. And like they try to count so many calories, which is like kind of like an end sum game because you keep cutting more and more and more and more until you can't cut anymore. And so a lot of people have tried like a lot of different things, cleanses and bars and like you name it. And when they gain their weight back and some every time, they start to bully themselves and tell themselves that they just didn't have as good of discipline as they should have. And they should have been better. And it's not the diet's fault, it's their fault. And that is the number one piece of advice I would tell someone, like just stop it. Like it is not you. Those were unsustainable and nonsensible diets and plans. That's not your reality. Like you can actually do this. You just need a better approach. And I really recommend they would do my 2B Mindset program because I have women who are in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, women with PCOS, everything in between, have tried everything and they haven't had success until they do my program. And they not only have success losing weight, but they improve their relationship with food, they improve their overall health and their mindset, and they're able to keep the weight off.
That's awesome. I feel like the ticket for Riley and I, because, you know, growing up, like we've always been health conscious, but it's having a healthy balance and relationship with food, I think is such an important factor that sometimes you don't realize can like take a toll on so many other aspects of your life. Like you were talking about how weight loss can be mental. So if you have like a very unhealthy or up and down relationship with, I'm going to treat myself or balance or none of this or all of this, that like all or nothing mindset can be really, really taxing. So I love that advice. And I think that's so true.
Yeah.
Me too. And kind of going off of the mental aspect, what would your advice be to someone who worked really, really hard and stuck to their diet, but is disappointed that the number on the scale does not reflect that?
Right. You know, I think working really hard is kind of relative in today's world, okay? Because it's very sad reality. This is like the new analogy I'm giving people this week, but it's like, if you're living in America today, we are on this moving conveyor belt towards obesity and chronic disease. It's just like this moving conveyor belt. Like you're at the grocery store, the person just checked out. Now it's taking your food with you. It's just this like, it's moving. You know, at the airport when, you know, you could either walk or you could go on that kind of slow moving pad. That's what we're all doing. We're all on this pad. It's almost like a lazy river towards obesity and chronic disease. And if we don't stand up, turn around and walk the other way, which feels literally like a treadmill, right? Like we actually have to pump our arms and walk on this treadmill actively. We are going to fall for the perpetual weight gain that's taking over our society. And so when people feel like they're working so hard and the scale is not budging, it's not necessarily that you have to work harder, but you do have to work smarter. And there's, you know, we can't like be above things. I think a lot of times we are comparing ourselves to others. Like even for me, I had gains like 5 pounds slowly, subtly over the holidays, over the winter months. Like I just, in the last 6 weeks leading up to my birthday, I was like, okay, enough's enough. I have to drop these 5 pounds because the 5 pounds again will easily steamroll into 10 in today's society. Like it's very easy. Someone just told me he slowly gained 25 pounds in the last 5 years. If you're getting 25 pounds over 5 years, it will feel slow because that's only 5 pounds a year. 5 pounds a year is very easy to gain and not even realize it. Like you could look at bread baskets at restaurants and gain 5 pounds a year. That's not even half a pound a month. That's very slow and gradual. But again, like that's 50 pounds in a decade if we're not actively like stepping up, turning the other way and walking that way. And so it's very easy to feel defeated when you feel like you are eating salads. Like your friend at the barbecue was sitting there with the bun, you know, with the chips, with the cupcakes, with the beer in the hand, and you didn't have the beer, you stuck to water, you didn't have the bun, you used a lettuce bun, and you just had some of the chips and cupcakes. Like it's very easy when you're comparing yourself to others to be so frustrated. Like, how come I gained half a pound from that barbecue? Like I made so many better choices. But the case is like, we're just so inundated with so many refined and processed carbohydrates and sugar everywhere that even when we show discipline, it really feels like sometimes it's not enough. And that could feel like a burnout mentality. And I really get that. And so with my program, the To Be Mindset program, I really help people try to like compare themselves to themselves, you know, like rather than looking at everyone else, really start focusing on your own food tracker, your own food journal, and see places and ways where you can make the adjustments. So you feel a little bit more a sense of empowerment. But I'd say like, that's what I would tell to the person who is writing that. It's like, try to see who you're comparing yourself to. Sometimes you're comparing yourself to your 20-year-old version of yourself, and now you're 35, or you're comparing yourself to a very athletic version of yourself, or to your friends or to your neighbors. And everyone is kind of full of it these days. Like I have a few best friends. We all have kids. So, you know, all women past like 32, like it's kind of fair game. Like there's no longer relying on a fast metabolism. Everyone has a system. And I have a few like very close friends who maintain a really like healthy, slim weight, even with kids and a busy lifestyle and stress and working, some of them. And they are very honest. Like, you know, I pretty much do intermittent fasting, or like I eat between these 2 hours, or, you know, I never have sugary mixers. I always stick to tequila or vodka. I never have a margarita. Or like they all have their systems and they all have made a way to figure it out. And like one of my close friends, every single night at around 8:30, she'll have like a treat. And she's seen that this really works well for her. It's either a cookie or it's something along those lines or a few bites of ice cream. And it's so funny because I've seen other people ask me like, how does she do it? She's so slim. Like, and I saw her at that party eating a cookie. Like, what the heck is that about? Meanwhile, this person has like this major system that she has worked out. She like eats between these hours. She eats tons of vegetables at that meal before, like, and she's found a way to make it work. And I think right now we're living in this society where people are saying what I eat in a day and people are being very dishonest. And then when I share what I eat in a day, they're like, isn't that too much water? Isn't that too many veggies? I'm like, I'm just trying to be more honest than everyone else is being, who is like pretending like it's all fluff. And you see these models like posing with a hamburger and, you know, Kylie Kardashian tasting crumble cookies in a TikTok. And you think, oh, she's eating crumble cookies all the time. Like, false, never eating crumble cookies. This is a once in a year thing. And God only knows what she's going to do afterwards. And like, and not to, like, that's not healthy. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, I think we feel defeated as a society because we feel like we should be able to eat and we should be able to have this and we should be able to have this and we should be able to have this. And we don't realize that we're living in such a world of excess that it does take asking ourselves what's really necessary and what isn't throughout the day. So I think that that's what makes people defeated. I think when they're looking elsewhere and they're comparing themselves, I find that to be really, really frustrating. I also find people get really frustrated when they're counting calories because a lot of times people are counting calories and they're feeling hungry all day because calories aren't equal. And you could be eating 1,200 calories and feel starving, or you could be eating, 1,200 calories and feel super full because you're focused on veggies and protein. And I don't recommend people count calories because I find that it like puts the emphasis on the calorie and not on the quality of the food. And they're left feeling like they're eating all these 100-calorie packs of pretzels and they're still left feeling hungry, or they're eating a lot of processed food that's not satisfying you in a certain way. And I find that that's like kind of one of the key things that it's a negative focus. Like, what are they doing? Like, I'm out of calories, I'm out of macros, da, 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 da. And it's not a positive focus. Like, oh, I want to be drinking more water. I want to be filling up on more veggies. I want to be more in tune with my mindful eating. So my program and approach is all like the positives, the things we want to add, the things we want to focus on, and not what we want to take away. Because that's what I find leads to kind of like a very negative sentiment.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely incredible advice. I think it's so many things that, as Riley and I are in our later 20s, have kind of learned that it really is you against you. And it's so easy to fall into the trap of looking on social media or at like different friends or people you look up to. And we all have such different bodies and lifestyles, and things that work for one person may not work for the other. Right. So your answer, I feel like, is so powerful.
Right. Thank you. And then the food companies are being so manipulative these days. Oh, yeah. Like, I have this series that I really try to lean into, and I like never post enough about this because it's so helpful for people. But I always tell people, like, there's a big difference between healthy and healthy for weight loss. And every month I see like a different food that people get this wrong with. So like for a while it was granola and acai bowls, right? Like everyone thinks, but they're so healthy, but they are not healthy. Like granola, I tell people, is a crushed up cookie. And an acai bowl is an ice cream bowl, like in a lot of places and ways, and it's so high in sugar. Like one acai bowl could have the same sugar as 2 donuts. And like, we think it's healthy. And so I find that really frustrates people because people spend a lot of money on these health claimed packed foods, but they're not necessarily getting them the results they want. And so the one of the week that I was just talking to my group about is sourdough. Sourdough is looked at as like the healthy bread, filled with probiotics, everyone's homemade favorite. And like, it works for so many people. Sourdough works. A slice of sourdough with their egg, with some avocado, with maybe veggies, like in a sandwich for breakfast, like it can work. However, like in this very like, I'd say 40 to 60 type of group I was talking to, they're baking sourdough, they're eating a loaf a week. Is that the reason I'm gaining weight? Likely, yeah, because I think we compare it very easily to white bread. I'm like, oh, it has more probiotics, it has a slightly lower glycemic index, but you can still overdo it, right? And it's still not that far away from white bread, right? And so I think that we get very swarmed in this world where there's a big difference between healthy and healthy for weight loss, like the amount of oil everyone is using and the amount of burrata on everything. And like, it's just, we're in this world where we can't tell, like, is it whole foods? Is it Whole30? Like, is it whole? If it's not processed, does that mean it's fair game? If it's within my macros, is it fair game? And again, I think we all really need to figure out the system that works for us, which takes a little bit more self-analyzation with my program. But once you hit and it clicks, it's the most freeing thing in the world.
Right. Yeah. That's so true. It is so unique per person.
It's so funny you brought up sourdough because last week on the episode, I was like, I'm going to start making my own sourdough. And it's been such a topic. So, but you're right. Like, everything in moderation, 1, and 2, labels on things like in the grocery store are so deceiving. And I feel like these fads come and like take over the world and everyone's obsessed. And it's just like, you kind of have to do your own research.
Right. Like dates and banana bread and like all these things that say like no refined flours, but then it's still packed with different kinds of flours, So yeah, we definitely have to kind of cut through all of that noise and figure out what's working best for us.
Yeah,
for sure. We love how passionate you are. I can tell just in the way you're talking. I love it so much. So how do you balance your passions and career alongside raising your kids?
Yeah, it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. I heard one person say that like when you're with your kids, it's easy to think that you should be working. And when you're working, it's very easy to feel like you should be with your kids. And I think that that's like kind of that motion where it really is hard to separate. But I mean, I feel like I'm doing somewhat of a good balance of both. Again, like comparison is the thief of joy and the thief of success. And I do find there's sometimes I'm like, whoa, that person is so much more successful than me. And like, I can't believe they got that. And I can't believe they're doing that. And I can't believe they just accomplished that. And then I usually, like for the most part, have to gut check and remind myself, they don't have 3 young kids. Like it's usually I'm comparing myself to someone who doesn't have kids or the kids are older and out of the house now. And like that alone just makes me realize like, okay, I'm raising humans like that. There's nobility in that. And there's also exhaustion in that. And it's, I'd say, it's really not easy. It really is not easy. The schools also don't really care about working parents in a way, like this is the end of the year. All the plays are in the middle of the day. The presentations are in the middle of the day. Thankfully, I've gotten my job to be more flexible, which felt very forced to do so, like that I had to really rearrange things and restructure my business in order to provide that level of flexibility. Because when my daughter was 2-3 years old, before she was like forming full sentences, I remember I had to miss something due to work and she reminded me, she guilted me, she was impacted by it, she cried, the teacher called, like it was so painful. And so thankfully I have that level of flexibility, but my heart just bleeds for the moms and parents who don't. And I really try to always consider those parents who don't, like the parents who don't live as close to school. I try to take their kids home. I try to really reason with them because it's not their fault. Like they're not a bad parent because they're working. They're a great parent because they're working. And one thing I always tell to working moms who have guilt with this is, and this is not to shame any mom who doesn't work, because that obviously has a lot of nobility, but they have done studies to show that kids of working parents tend to be more career focused when they're older and tend to have higher IQs. And that has always been something that's helped me. And I'm sure you can counteract that with, really positive studies of kids with stay-at-home moms and the benefits that provides. But for me, like anytime I missed something for my kids or I felt like I couldn't be there as much for them, like I would always remind myself there's so many benefits to showing my kids that being committed to your career and building something is important. And I always want my daughter to know that message. I want my daughter to have a career so bad. She tells me all the time, I just want to be a mom. I'm like, you will be a mom, but it's also important to have a career because you have so much kindness in you and creativity in you. And you want to share that with the world in a way that is positive. And I also think it's really healthy for a woman to have her own money and some ownership of that. And again, it's all good for women who don't have that situation or scenario and it works for them. But for me, that has been like definitely something I've seen from the women in my life, like the ones who have had their own careers and have made their own money have been big inspirations to me and have had like really good, I'd say like healthy relationships with their children, with their spouse, and I've had a lot of self-confidence that they've been able to accomplish something outside of their family. And I think it's really healthy. I have a lot of friends and clients who are stay-at-home moms, but I always encourage them to have some sort of hobby, something that they're working towards that's their own, because I think otherwise it's very easy to kind of wallow on drama or overthink things or eat out of boredom or mindlessness. So I think it's really important like that even, a mom who isn't necessarily working is maybe volunteering, is doing something that feels like an outlet for her creativity and intelligence.
Yeah, that's awesome. One of my friends who is like she has a bunch of different passions. She always says she loves to be able to hopefully show her kids one day that you can do both, that you can be an active present mom, but you can also lean into things passions, whether it is something that's income producing or it's just something that fills your cup up, gives you adult interaction, or just kind of like you said, get your brain going, your creativity's flowing outside of being a mom. And that's always really stuck with me. And I feel like that was kind of some of the gist of what you were saying. So that I think it's refreshing to hear like both sides, like you said, there's benefits to both. Every situation and family's different, but that's something that, is interesting to Riley and I, and a lot of our followers are heading into like that motherhood phase or are in it right now. So I'm sure that advice will be helpful for a lot of our listeners.
I love it. I think it's amazing. And my kids are so excited by my career. Like even before it was maybe as exciting as it is now, just, guys, I'm running out of the house. I have a presentation. Like, I just feel like that teaches them so much, like it just gets you excited and jumping out of bed. I think that's really something I'm very fortunate. I'm honestly the only working mom in my entire family. It's wild amongst, my sister-in-law just went back like part-time, but between, the women in my family, like on both sides, I'm really like the only one with a career in that way. And sometimes we go to family parties and everyone remembered the perfect gift for this kid. And I'm the one who completely forgot that there's a gift because I had 12 meetings that day and all these other things. But like, you just have to give yourself grace no matter where you are. Again, like comparison is a thief of joy. Nobody has the same situation as you do. I didn't have all day to be in the mall walking around for that thoughtful gift. And, that person will understand, and you find other ways to show your love and kindness and consideration.
Totally agree. You are amazing. You just do it all. It's so inspiring to see you running such a successful business and having your family. And I think it will inspire a lot of our listeners, definitely Rose and I. But tell us about your Plate It method and how it works.
Yeah, for sure. Great. Oh gosh, how sciencey should we go? I mean, I'll keep it like light and easy to understand. So again, like, I'm so happy you're asking that. Again, like a lot of times people like to keep it really simplistic. Just eat these foods or just eat these foods or, it's all calories or whatever it is. But actually the timing of our food matters. And I'm very into energy. Sometimes I work with a high-powered CEO. They don't really have weight to lose or any medical changes they need to make, but their energy is just not there. They're not functioning at optimal levels. And I got to help them be able to sustain that good energy throughout the day. So I like to teach people how to eat, not just for weight loss, but also for just optimal energy and functionality throughout the day. And so my Plate It method basically teaches you how to eat at different times to support what you're about to do. So first thing in the morning, I tend to wake up very hungry. Not as many people do. Some people say they don't like to have breakfast. They don't have as big of an appetite at breakfast. They need something quick just to run out of the house. So in that case, what do we want to focus on? We always need protein. A high protein breakfast is being like consistently shown to help reduce cravings and overall weight management. We need a high protein breakfast. It keeps your blood sugar steady at the start of the day. It keeps you full. It keeps you satisfied. It gives our body what it needs. So we want protein in the morning, but we also need carbs. We need some level of carbohydrates carbohydrates in the morning. So we have that good sustained energy. And that's why we need it to contain fiber. So sourdough bread, it has a slightly lower glycemic index to white bread, like a lower blood sugar response, but it's not as ideal or optimal as like a really good high fiber bread. And you could make a whole wheat sourdough, and that's what I would recommend you do. But that's kind of the breakfast plate that we want to go for, something like eggs or maybe chicken or turkey sausage or a protein powder or Greek yogurt or cottage cheese or tempeh or tofu, a really good protein source, and then a fiber-filled carbohydrate, which could be berries or let's say the whole wheat sourdough or a steamed sweet potato or baked potato. So that's like kind of the plate it method is we want to go 50-50 protein and fiber-filled carbs. At lunch, I always say lunch is the most important meal of the day because that's what carries us the longest, right? It's usually people, they have lunch and then they don't eat again for a couple of hours. And those are big hours, right? We're in those hours now. Like we have meetings, we have things to do, we have errands to run, we have dinner to make or whatever it is you're doing. So we need really good sustained energy. So I always say we need all food groups on deck. We need veggies. Veggies is at least half plate veggies because a half plate veggies is going to get you full and help keep you full and really fill us up on what we need in that middle of the day. So lots of veggies. We want protein. So we have that sustained fullness and a little bit more fiber filled carbs like chickpeas in that grilled chicken salad or again, like another piece of fruit next to it or roasted sweet potatoes or something along that line. It could be quinoa or chickpeas, I think I said that, or tabbouleh salad, whatever you want to do. It could be a high fiber wrap, like in like a big tuna wrap type of thing, lentil soup. But we definitely want some still fiber filled carbs at lunch because that's going to give us the energy so we don't slump mid-afternoon and start raiding the pantry for chocolate. So that's what the lunch plate is. It's half plate veggies and then a quarter plate protein and fiber filled carbs. At dinner, and this is only for people who are actively trying to lose weight or better manage their blood sugar levels or try to be preventative with their blood sugar levels. My plate at dinner is the one that's most controversial. People have an issue with it. It looks like this. It is 75% veggies and 25% protein. And this people are like, wait, but where's my carb at dinner? And it's not that we take away the carb at dinner. We just have to remind ourselves what it is we need at each meal. And carbs are for energy. And by the time it's nighttime, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, we're unwinding, we're sitting on the couch, we're watching Netflix, maybe pumping out another email or two, we're laying down, we're reading, we're relaxing. We don't necessarily need to fill up on lots of carbohydrates because the second we eat lots of carbohydrates, our blood sugar rises, our insulin rises. Insulin is a fat storing hormone. We can't burn fat in the presence of insulin in our body like that. And so when we fill up on lots of veggies to get full and protein to stay full with nice healthy fats like avocado and spicy mayo maybe, or like a really delicious sauce or marinade, like really good fats, slivered almonds on our stir fry, whatever it is, that's going to make sure that we are full, we stay full, but we can be dinner and done and activate what I like to call fat burning sleep because we're keeping our blood sugar levels nice and low through the night. So that's my plate it method. I actually created plates to kind of reflect that, like really chic and subtle plates that help you eat in accordance with the method throughout the day without it like looking weird or diety. And I talk about it, more in my To Be Mindset program, but that type of method I find to be really helpful because a lot of people like to think, I just need a meal plan. Just give me a meal plan and I will strictly follow the meal plan. No one has ever strictly followed a meal plan in their lives. Like I could write you a meal plan that says baked chicken and roasted broccoli. And then, your boyfriend calls you up and says, hey, let's go for sushi. And then what? Like, you're not getting it. So now is everything out the window or now you lost? No, like you stick with the same format. So you're at sushi, you maybe have edamame, that's a protein, a miso soup that's like has some veggies and more protein in it, cucumber sunamono salad, maybe you get miso eggplant and the cod or sashimi and you get it cucumber wrapped. You could still eat plenty, you could still be satisfied while sticking with the same relative formula.
That is amazing. I wanted to say I was looking at your Instagram and the plates are so cute. Like I love them. But what you said about lunch and it being kind of the most important meal to carry you through the day, I'm going to take that with me because I feel like when I'm working, like after lunch, I sometimes will get like tired and like maybe I'm like, I need a snack so that is such a piece of information it makes so much sense, but I never thought about it that way.
Yeah. Lunch is usually what people either skip or they like make really bad choices with, right? Because I say it's the most important meal of the day, but it's also the one that kind of is intercepting with the busiest point of the day, right? So a lot of times people like to skip it, but if you skip it, you're still going to be hungry. So then what happens? You end up like succumbing to the chips or the candy bowl or something. But all that does is spike your blood sugar levels, drop them, and increase more cravings and weight gain. So we don't want to do that. And then a lot of people, like, they kind of just settle for that big sandwich and bag of chips. The problem is you have that huge hunk of bread on the top. You have the huge hunk of bread on the bottom. You have that tiny sliver of tomato and turkey, like barely any veggies and protein. And it's a lot of carbs. And that really is that blood sugar roller coaster that tends to make us sleepy. So the salad lunch really is the good method, like salad lunch or lettuce cups to eat like a taco bowl or anything to get more veggies in middle of the day. I always recommend 2 cups of veggies by 2 p.m. If you are type of like snacky like person who's going to kind of go for more easy to grab things, it could be a bag of baby carrots with a little pack of hummus or guacamole to get those veggies in along with your sandwich for the protein and carbs. But we definitely want those veggies. We want to fill up on them because that's going to give us that stable blood sugar and good energy.
Love that.
Yeah, I'm taking the lunch advice too, because I feel like I put the least amount of effort into what I'm going to make for lunch. And I totally feel like that would switch so much for me. So noted. Riley and I honestly, are totally going to do that.
Yeah. And report back, please. And
yeah,
honestly,
we will.
If you are putting more time and energy into dinner, and that's where you're making like the good bolognese sauce and type of thing, and maybe you're using hearts of palm noodles or spaghetti squash because it's a veggie, the best thing to do is double up how much you're cooking for dinner and take it for leftovers, and then just add a quick carb like apple after lunch, or just adds a bunch of chickpeas or lentils to it. So you have that good fiber filled carb in the middle of the day. But, definitely, obviously I'm busy too. We're all busy. So if you are going to spend time meal prepping or cooking one good hearty meal, I always recommend doubling it up because worst comes to worst, you either freeze it or you just take it for lunches for the week.
Love it. So how restrictive are you with what you allow your kids to eat? For example, we're always hearing about the dangers of dyes, seed oils, sodas, etc.
Yes, great question. With my kids, my number one priority is the blood sugar. Like I'm really, really, really conscious of the blood sugar because I know if I my daughter had a play date today because school's out. So she had a play date. The play date came over at around like 10:30 in the morning. And my daughter's like, "Can we have ice cream? Can we have ice cream?" I get it. Like you want to impress your play date friends. Like this is your best friend, but no, like this is not ice cream time. This is like borderline lunchtime. Like this is snack time, lunchtime. Like this is not what we're doing. And so I know a lot of people like to like fear monger and get really scared about the seed oils and things like that. But I do think that there is a level of hierarchy of needs. And sometimes people are like obsessed with some snacks because they're potato chips fried in avocado oil and they're don't have seed oils, but those are still potato chips. Those are still going to do the same thing to a kid's blood sugar levels than the potato chips fried in canola oil. So that is not going to be on the hierarchy of needs for me. Like for me, it really is about getting the kids as many protein and veggies as I can. And I am very clever with how I do it. I have a kids nutrition program coming out soon called Raising Balanced Eaters. And it's really RBE, Raising Balanced Eaters, coming soon. So stay tuned. But it really is about infusing more ways to get our kids not only eating more protein and veggies, but having a very positive mindset with it, liking it, knowing why they're choosing it, feeling empowered by it, and also understanding why we're not eating tons of sugar throughout the day. So when it comes to like being very restrictive, I'm never going to be that mom who's like screaming across the party, like, "Jimmy, if you don't get that lollipop out of your hands, like we're leaving this party right now." Like I would never do that. But I try to have as many conversations with my kids in a very positive light when we're at home. So they are better at navigating those birthday parties and they're not just like shoving their face with everything the second they see it. So in terms of how restrictive I am, if you saw my kids on a Saturday, you'll probably see them holding a cupcake or a lollipop or something like that. I don't like it because it has that kind of mindset of people who diet and they're like, "Oh, Saturday's cheat day." It's not that by any means. It's just that is our most social day, right? Like that's where we're hanging around the most amount of kids. They typically are like going to synagogue, let's say in the morning, that has tons of candy for kids. And then there's a lunch afterwards that has cookies and cake. And then the afternoon, there's usually ice cream. And sometimes there's a sleepover or something Saturday that's more. And so like, I do find that that's the day where they tend to eat the most amount of the stuff because it's the least structured, the most social events and parties. And so I'm not restrictive, but I do like to set them up for success. So like they don't start that Saturday. Like I always tell kids, it's like going to war without your shield on. We got to get your shield on, right? Because that's essentially another analogy is like if you take a bottle of maple syrup and you pour it on your skin, you're going to be a sticky mess. Like you're going to have to shower right away, right? Because if you pour honey all over you, you're just going to be sticky and disgusting. If you pour honey over your clothes, you could take off your clothes and throw them in the wash. Your body will probably not be too sticky. Like it might get through the fibers a little bit of the cotton fibers, but not tremendously. And that is the same fiber we put in our body. It protects us from that sugar response. So we're not getting it coated on us. We're getting a slow drip of it. And so before my kids go anywhere on like Saturday and Sundays, before the birthday parties and the influx of sugar, I really try to set them up with like a high protein breakfast. So we're not doing cereal and milk as much on Saturdays and Sundays. We're doing more like cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, eggs. Like we're heavy hitting them with the protein there. And definitely fiber. Like we're having apples, we're having berries, we're having maybe like I'll concoct some sort of like whole wheat muffin type of thing, high fiber bread. So something where they're going in strong, and that's going to help them not choose as much sugar and also be able to digest it better and have it come into their system. So afterwards they feel satisfied and not like they keep needing more and more and more and more. So I'm not totally restrictive, but I am very mindful. And I think we need to own that as parents. I think as parents, we want to be like, no, my kid should just have whatever. And no, like we're not going to let them stay up till 2 a.m. watching cartoons. We need them to go to sleep. We're not going to let them, not shower for a week because kids never want to bathe or shower. We know they have to clean their body. And it's annoying. I'm not going to lie. Like that's the most annoying part of parenting is getting your kids to do the things they have to do to take care of themselves. That's kind of the same annoying parts of adulting, right? Like it is not the most fun, but we're not here to have fun. We're here to raise balanced eaters, balanced people, like, empowered, strong, mighty, confident, healthy bodied people. And that's a big piece of it. And I think that's the piece where people just want to give up the first, right? Because the kid's having a temper tantrum. You just want to get everyone in the car. You just shove them a lollipop and buckle them in and you want to go. But the funny thing is, like, usually when they're having that temper tantrum over the lollipop and they're screaming in your ear while you're trying to put the seatbelt on, they usually like pass out 3 seconds later, like, or they get over it because they see like a clown in the window on a billboard and they just get distracted. And so I think parents have to, like, that's what I really hope to do this summer with my program, Raising Balanced Eaters, is really empower parents to like own this and make it important. And when you make it important, kids value it as more important. And the more effort you put into this, the more it pays off later. And I've never met an adult, like you guys said, you were raised healthy. Like I've never met an adult who was raised in a healthy household, unlike mine. Like my house was very unhealthy. We never had family meals. We never had a mom cooking. It was always takeout. It was always rushed. It was always television on. And so I've never met one of my friends who grew up in a healthy household who regrets it. Oh, my family, like we always had a salad on the table. It was terrible. Like they're usually like, yeah, my parents raised me pretty healthy, like we never had soda in the house. Like they usually say it with like a sense of like pride, like it's kind of cool that my parents did that, and so I think that we don't realize that. We think that our kids are going to have these horrible eating disorders and have this like horrible view of our parents. I grew up in this super restrictive home. And if you do it right, that is never the case. You're raising balanced eaters. You're not raising, scared eaters, right? So that's why like they're allowed things, but we're just conscious about controlling what we can control the times we can.
I totally agree with you. It's about being balanced rather than being scared of foods. And I think that's something that a lot of people right now are getting wrong. It's like we're so scared of so many things that we're not eating in a balanced way. Yeah.
Yeah. And listen, there's some things that I don't believe need to be in moderation, like things like soda. I don't believe in, thankfully my kids like really know that. They're like creeped out by soda. In a way, like I'd rather them have something that they could chew and eat than a soda with high fructose corn syrup and artificial dyes and things like that, there really is no health benefit to it. But if my kids did love soda or like really prioritize that, then they would know like, okay, you really want a Coke. All right, then there's also birthday cake. There's also these things like, are you comfortable with Coke being your treat and like your one treat of this party? If that's the case, then fine too, because we know tons of people who drink Coke. It's not like they're, passing out that next minute, right? Like our bodies do have tolerance for some of these things. It's the overconsumption of these that really is the problem. So, everything could fit. The problem is just like when sugar becomes so addictive without the protein and fiber, it's hard to keep it in moderation. So front loading with the protein and fiber is a key element.
So what kind of recipes are in your cookbook and where can we buy it?
Oh, amazing. Such delicious recipes. Really like the yummiest things ever. It's kind of, I'm just going to pull it out 1 second just so I can reference it. Everything has health benefits to it, but you can't taste it because there are so many cookbooks I've seen like over there's like a deconstructed peanut butter and jelly with a high protein bread. There are so many cookbooks I've seen over the years that honestly now after being on a health and weight loss journey for so long, like I'm very attracted to something that has kale and, sprouts in it, but the average person is not going to be attracted to that, right? Like they'll eat the kale and the Brussels sprouts for so long until they just reach for like In-N-Out or burgers and fries and need to kind of give it all up. So I like to speak to like the classic American person and someone who's already eating burgers and fries, who's eating pizza and just now needs to be able to satisfy that craving in a healthier way. So that's like this birthday cake Wonder Whip. It's based in Greek yogurt, but it has all the flavors of a birthday cake. So I have like a cloud bread pizza that's gigantic, but you could eat the entire thing as a dinner and it's packed with protein. These are cloud bread pancakes. So all the food is kind of designed. It's love the food that loves you back. It's filling, satisfying, delicious foods that just happen to be very good for you. But we lead with flavor and taste for sure.
Now I'm starving.
I know. Yeah. I was like, that sounds amazing. And I also love that slogan. Is that the slogan of your book? Love the food that loves you back.
Yeah, that's the title. So it's,
oh my gosh, that's the title. That is such.
Oh, okay. I'm going to send you guys some copies.
Oh my gosh, we would love that.
Yeah. That's amazing.
But I love the mindset behind it because I think one of my favorite things to do is to find healthier ways to enjoy the things that I love most. Obviously, there's, like you said, time and place to just enjoy it and do like indulge and have the things that you love. But I love not having to like eat super boring and bland, but find a healthier way to do it. So I'm sure I will just be all over your cookbook. I'm excited.
It's delicious. Honestly, everything is delicious. And like the salads in here are crave-worthy, sexy salads. That's what the category is called. It's called sexy salads. Everything is like yummy, delicious. The desserts in here, like I have a high protein breakfast cake. It literally tastes exactly like cake. I have an easy blueberry pie. Like you can't tell doesn't have a lot of sugar in it. So everything is designed that's like mushroom cap pizzas, because if you like mushrooms on your pizza, you're going to like pizza on your mushrooms. So we kind of like flip it over and take the mushrooms and we fill it with tomato sauce and cheese. So it's like all ways to satisfy those same cravings, just in a smarter way. And these are really the foods that I ate to lose my 100 pounds and keep it off.
Wow.
Amazing. Yay. Well, that concludes our little Q&A segment. But before we move on to our advice segment, I did want to ask you one thing. So I was scrolling through your Instagram. It's so fun to watch all of your videos. It's like addicting. You guys have to follow Ilana. We will tag her in the description.
Love you guys.
But I have to ask you, when you're making a bowl of cereal, do you do milk before cereal or cereal before milk?
You know, it's really funny because I did that in that video and it was honestly an accident that I put the milk in first. And afterwards, I was asking Sophia, who helps me film, and I was like, should I redo it or will we just get so many comments because it's so ridiculous? She's like, I don't know. It goes both ways. I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to risk it. No, always do cereal and then pour the milk. But for the sake of the mistake and not redoing it and engagement, I just kept it.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
It's kind of like when Kendall like cut over her arm, right? Like she like cut backwards and looked like a fool cutting it. Yeah. And then like it went viral. I was like, okay, maybe it'll have that effect. So
oh my gosh. That is like randomly a huge topic at Drinks on Us. We had like a poll one day and we were saying, what do you do? And everyone was up in arms about people doing cereal or milk before cereal. And so I saw
it's a little serial killery. It's like, it's not normal. It's definitely not a normal thing to do.
Okay. That's so funny. Well, we are going to get into our advice segment. It's called Girls Room. So basically people write in and ask us questions. It's like, all cards are on the table. Like you can ask anything you would talk about in a girls room. So first question, help. I am so unmotivated to go to the gym. I know I will not regret going, but I am so tired after work and need the extra sleep in the morning before work. What motivates you girls to just get it done?
Yeah, it's a great question because sleep is my number one priority and exercise comes later. But I will say there is this like breaking point where once you're at like 7 hours and maybe like 15 minutes, like most of the studies that talk about adequate sleep use 7 hours, sometimes 7.5 hours as the metric. Once you're at that number, you rather get sleep. You rather get exercise. So like if someone is sleeping 8 hours a night, like they're going to sleep at 11 and they're waking up at 7, I would say it's worth it for that person to start waking up at 6:30 and fitting in a 20-minute workout because you're already hitting the minimum amount that we want for adequate sleep. And now you're also getting the benefits of a workout. And if this person can't wake up early because she's like so tired, then the answer is probably go to sleep earlier.
Right.
And I find that's like our biggest issue these days is we're just staying up too late. We're scrolling and we're staying up way too late. Like especially TikTok, forget it. Like you open it up really innocent. I just want to be on here for 5 minutes and then 50 minutes go by and like, your brain is warped. So I was actually in that state a few months ago. Honestly, like before I even lost these last 5 pounds, I was not sleeping. Sleep is so connected to weight. I was really not sleeping. I was scrolling on TikTok at night, like against all the advice I would give to everyone else. And I decided it was so bad for me, but I'm not going to go on and tell people like I just changed and read a book because I do like to look at a screen at night and like wind down to some TV. So like, yes, if you don't and you're reading a magazine or a book or journaling or meditating before bed, that's ideal. Be better than me. But for me, like do better. But for me, what actually worked is I put away my phone and I started watching Seinfeld on Netflix. Highly recommend, 10 out of 10 recommend. It's on Netflix. It's shot in like, I guess the 90s or the early 2000s. And so it's like, it's simpler. It's hilarious. It's like belly laughs. It puts me in a good mood, but it's very relaxing. I put the screen light all the way to the bottom. So it's like barely there and it's calming. It's not like every 15 seconds I'm learning something new because I'm like scrolling on these reels. It's like one storyline. It's pretty calming. There's no one getting blown up. There's no big drama. There's no fights like Bravo and Real Housewives. It's just feel good, that type of energy. And I'm going to sleep way sooner. Like I like pass out in the middle, and I'm going to sleep way earlier, getting up for those because I wake up very early in order to work out before my kids and work. So I'm getting up at 5:30 and like, it's been that game changer. So I think going to sleep early is that person's problem. It's like, she's probably just staying up way too late. And, I know there's like that skincare routine and this routine and like all these things you want to do. But sleep is really important because if you're not sleeping, you're never going to be motivated. You're walking around groggy. But I would also add that I have a great pre-workout. I love my pre-workout. I take something called Energize every morning for the last like 7 years. And it is a game changer. Like I never did a burpee before I took this. Like it really gives you great energy. It's with beta alanine and there's quercetin and it's green tea extract. And it gives you like you drink it with a lot of water. So it gives you a lot of amazing energy. I just know for myself, like that has made a huge change. It's called Energize. I think I have a link at the bottom of my bio or else you could just find it online. Body Energize, Beachbody's pre-workout is phenomenal. And that is it just like makes you motivated. I can't explain it. It's how the pH balance, it helps you, it buffers the acid in our muscles. So when you're lifting weights, obviously we all know what it's like to feel sore after a workout, but we also have soreness during a workout. So let's say you're doing 20 like bicep curls or something, at maybe 7th rep, we start to feel sore already. And that's when we want to give up. So we're like, I'm not going to get to 20. Like I'm going to give up by 12 or 11. So part of this pre-workout, it helps buffer that acid so you can go longer before you get sore. So there's a lot of science to a good pre-workout. And I find that motivated me to get much better exercise in.
Honestly, that was incredible advice. Yeah. So I'm saying to this girl, listen to her.
Yes. Okay, ditto. Okay, next question. Hi, Rose and Rye. I've been loving all the health and wellness talk. Can you give some examples of your favorite healthy snacks?
Yes. So when it comes to snacks, they make a big difference. Unfortunately, some of the healthy snacks are a little bit more expensive. And so that kind of throws some people off. But I will tell you that a slightly more expensive snack that's keeping you fuller longer will probably help you stop at one snack and eat less later than maybe like a cheaper snack that you now need 2 or 3 to get the same level of satisfaction, and you're going to overeat later on. So like, I will say some of the recommendations I make for a brand might seem a little bit more expensive, but sometimes, you get what you pay for. I'd start with whole foods, right? Like whole foods are the best. An apple, no one ever binged apples. Like I've never met a client who ate 4 apples in a row, but I just spoke to someone who ate 5 chocolates in a row, right? And if you think about it, she had chocolates. This one particular client I spoke to earlier this morning, she had chocolates in a canister and she had 5 of them, right? Like each of those chocolates is going to be a minimum around 100 calories. An apple is the same amount, and it's like 12 times the size. Like it's so much bigger than this tiny chocolate, the size of your finger. It's like the size of your whole fist. And it has fiber, it has water, it's going to keep you full. It's also slightly sweet. It takes a long time to eat it, right? So, I told her like, get rid of that canister, out of sight, out of mind, and replace it with an apple stand, like like a bowl. Just pack it with apples because you're not going to have 5 of those in a row. And they really are 50 cents, 60 cents for a good apple. So fruit is great. Love veggies. So bag of baby carrot, mini bell peppers. Like I snacked on those mini bell peppers. I like to call them purseable peppers because they're usually in a bag that looks like a purse and you could keep them in your purse on a plane or something. So mini bell peppers are great. Pickles are great. Hearts of palm I like to snack on. Those are easy things that they stay in a can. You can keep them at the office place or in the back of your pantry, and it's always there for you. Mini cucumbers with a little cream cheese or hummus or guacamole, everything but the bagel seasoning. So fruits and vegetables are awesome. They're inexpensive and they're very satisfying. And then you want to think protein, right? So like string cheeses, Greek yogurt cups. They now even make like protein cereals that you could put in a bag and snack on. A good protein bar that doesn't have a lot of artificial sweeteners in it or sugar in it. Protein is really important. I love protein chips. They make so many different protein chips now I love the Quest chips. I like there's a brand called Kibo chips, Kibo, I think it is, on Amazon. So really like protein. These are the things that are going to keep you full and satisfied, or something very high in fiber, right? Like I like chickpea puffs instead of crackers or pretzels that have no fiber, right? Because the chickpea puffs have a little bit more fiber. They're made with chickpeas. They're going to give you that iron. Again, they're going to keep you fuller a little bit longer, and it's just a better pack a punch, So it really depends on your lifestyle, how long the snack is trying to carry you. Is it trying to carry you a few more hours to dinner? Is it something that's going to carry you a lot longer? Maybe it needs to be more substantial, like a whole smoothie. That could be the case. But whatever it is, it should have fiber and some protein if it's going to be there to keep you fuller longer.
That is amazing advice. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to follow that. Rose, what are your snack ideas?
Honestly, I think we kind of go in the same, like if we try to have like fruits and veggies, and then if not, try to stick to those brands that you believe in, like the product, like the ingredients they use. I love like Simple Mills, Siete. If I'm wanting something that's a snack, but I do try to eat real foods for snacks just because I find myself overeating snacks if they're processed or
totally.
I don't have
the
balance.
Chips are really good. Like they're really good. Like sometimes it works. I have a bunch with lunch. Like that makes sense. And I'm good. I'm satisfied. And other times I can overeat them and it doesn't necessarily work as much. So like with the processed snacks, you're always kind of, even the quote unquote better for you ones, like you're always kind of like playing a little bit of a game of like, how much self-control do you have going into this? How much water have you drank so far? How hungry are you? And how big is the bag? Right.
I like your advice about thinking of it in a way of like, how long does a snack need to carry me? That is such a good way to like go in and be like, okay, so what do I really need out of this snack? Love.
Right. Right. Like if you're cooking dinner and you're feeling snacky while you're cooking dinner, but you know you're about to eat within an hour, and maybe just like some sliced cucumbers, on the side with a pinch of salt, and just get that just to curb the hunger for a minute and be a smart start to your dinner later on.
Exactly. Okay, this last one's a little bit longer, but we need to give her advice, so stay with me. Hi, girls. Love the pod and feel like we're best friends. I have a friend that I was close to for a bit while at university, but she's a huge party girl and likes to go out and get hammered and stay out until sunrise, which was great for a while, but not anymore. Every time she sends me a message suggesting to catch up, my body fills with anxiety because I know for a fact that no matter what we do, she will guilt me into going out drinking, which as I have gotten older, I love a glass of wine or two, but don't like to take it further. It has made me start to dislike her as a person because she will never take no for an answer. I am the most unconfrontational person ever and am struggling how to handle this situation. Would really appreciate some advice. What'd you say?
That's so tough. That's so tough. But like mental health first, and taking care of you first before, offending her. I'd say like, if you keep just distancing without talking to her, it's just going to come across as like passive aggressive and resentful, right? And it totally makes sense that resentment is building, right? Like when I work with private clients, I always explain like, you probably really need to stop. You have to have a conversation with your spouse. Like I could have it for you, and we can make it like this 3-way conversation, but we need to talk with your spouse because every time he forces you to eat so much, you're gaining weight and you're building resentment over time. And if you're not having a conversation, we're not being honest. And so I don't know what you guys think, but I think she has to have a conversation. I find when people make the excuse about like weight loss or wellness, it's annoying. Like if she says, oh, I can't do this because I'm trying to get fit and active, like sometimes it feels annoying and you feel like you're judging the other person for not having the same goals. So I usually try, like if the person wants to have a conversation, but wants to take it gently and just wants to kind of like sweep it under the rug, I'll usually like recommend that they use other reasons aside from a fit body, because I find that comes across as like superficial and not everyone gets it. But I think mental health matters. Like I think if she says drinking really disturbs my mental health, like it gives me anxiety, I'm not sleeping well, I miss my workouts, I get really sluggish at work the next day, like it makes me a little depressed because we know alcohol is a depressant, then how can you argue that, right? Like she's not going to be offended. You can't argue mental health, right? But if she said that line, like she doesn't take no for an answer, that's really hard, because then I think that like really leads to a conversation where even before the conversation happens, it has to kind of be this like sit down, listen, I really don't want to offend you. I know you don't like to take no for an answer, but this really isn't working for me. Or I don't know, you guys give your advice after this because I could be totally off, but like, or I would just keep steering her towards things that you both like that don't involve drinking. Like, can we just get a manicure together? I have an hour and a half. I'd love to catch up. Can we get our nails done together? There's like this hike I really want to do. There's this sculptural class that you can't bring food or drinks into, so I'm going to eat before because I have to sleep early because I have an early meeting, find other ways to spend time with her. So it doesn't seem like you're just distancing yourself from her overall, but you're finding other activities that maybe make sense. It's really hard.
That's great advice. I like the idea of like maybe trying to do something earlier in the day, like on the weekend. So it's less likely that drinking would be involved. And I agree, just like being honest and upfront. And like my only advice is I love everything you said. That's really like exactly where my mind went to. I would just say to this girl, if you do all these things and it isn't getting across to her, it's okay if you like outgrow someone. Like maybe you guys just aren't like in alignment as you're growing in age. Like maybe you just have different values, and I wouldn't give up on it before you try the pieces of advice that we just gave you. But it's okay if in the end, like you just have to realize like maybe you're outgrowing each other and you're heading in different directions.
You'll still be close. Like you can still call each other on your birthdays every year and things like that. But this is like your lifestyles aren't aligned as much. And so it's really hard. I had one of my sorority sisters became one of my private clients, and I was having a private session with her. And obviously like the energy felt a little different than someone else who's like seeing me referred by a doctor, right? Like she was my sorority sister. Now she's my client. And she was telling me how much she drinks still and like how she stays up all night with her husband and they're drinking all night. And I literally was like, still? Like you're still, because like we're in our mid 30s now. And I'm like, really? Okay. Wow. Like how do you, like, it's amazing you've kept that up. But I do think like lifestyle plays a big role in relationships. And, that's why it's very hard when couples come together and they both smoke cigarettes, because the second one wants to quit, it's not like, what, you think you're better than me? Like, this is what we do together. And this is, now you're going to leave the room and I'm going to stay in the room. Like, it's very hard. And I always recommend when people aren't in a healthy state and I ask them and they're single, I'm always like, are you dating? And they're like, maybe. And I'm like, I don't know if I should. And I'm always like, it's very helpful when you get to your healthiest state. And that's when you attract the healthiest mate, it's like, because then you're going to keep those healthy habits longer. And I think that's like a really great point. Like you sometimes outgrow some people. And, I was even talking to a mom friend recently, and she's friends with this other mom that I'm not friends with. And she spent all weekend with her. I'm like, oh, wow, you guys are good friends. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, do you guys have kids the same age? She's like, yeah. I'm like, and I said something that like, now I'm saying it out loud, but it's, I was like, it doesn't work otherwise. And that sounds like, so if I didn't have kids right now, I'd be like, that sounds so judgmental and like horrible. But once you get kids, you realize like, it's very hard. Like if a friend has teenage kids who like want to go ziplining and you have a baby who can barely come out of a stroller and can't, like, it's very hard. If the lifestyles don't work, it's hard to go on the same family vacation and have everyone be as entertained and happy, and that's just kind of like the case in life. And I think that this girl just kind of needs to swallow that and see it as a fact of life. Good call. Like sometimes you do just outgrow people, but don't give up on the relationship before you had a chance to find common ground of like the manicure or a lunch spot or something that you guys can keep doing together that makes sense.
Totally agree. And another thing too, with your advice of like saying mental health and I don't want to be drinking, there is nothing wrong with a mocktail, and you can still kind of get the best of both worlds, like go out with her, but still, not be drinking all night. Rose and I got a mocktail at dinner the other day and it was like so much fun. It was so delicious and we weren't hungover and it was great. So that's another option too for you. That's a great option. Yeah, or just have like bubble water that look like with lime that looks like a vodka tonic, but isn't. And then sometimes it's nice maybe to bring a buffer with you, like two other friends who can go drink for drink with her, so that when you bail out at 11:30, she's not alone, and you still feel like you had time with her. Totally. Well, I think that concludes our happy hour. That was so much fun. Thank you so much, Ilana, for joining us. I feel like learned so much and had such great conversation. So we appreciate you coming on. I love you guys so much. This was so much fun. Thank you for the great questions. And you guys are really the best. I get why all of your listeners feel like they're your best friends, because you guys are just so cool and easy to talk to. So thank you so much for having me. We learned so much from you. Thank you for carving out just this hour with us. And I know our listeners are going to gain so much. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We loved our time with you. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this happy hour. We had so much fun. We hope that you loved Ilana as much as we did. We actually have some codes for you. So you can use code HWPOD10 for all Ilana houseware orders over $70 or more. And that's those Plate It method plates that we were talking about. The stuff actually is super cute. I was creeping on Instagram, so you guys can look at that stuff there. And then we also have a code to get $10 off of your first meal and receive an extra 5% off when you subscribe to Ilana Meals. And that code is podcast 10. So we will put both of those codes in the description. We'll put Ilana's Instagram handle in the description. And yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us. And feel free, as always, to follow, subscribe, share this podcast, all the things. Yes. Oh my gosh. So I'm definitely going to leave us with the cheers to just like learning more about how we can be our healthiest self and just taking all the awesome tips from Ilana. So cheers to that. Cheers to you, Rye. And thank you so much for coming on, Ilana. And we will see you guys same time, same place next week. Love you. Bye.